Hello, and in this playthrough we are following Cara on her journey, and as you can see she is the assistant to Todd and Alice, and what you missed out on the earlier playthrough was she was actually picked up from the repair shop by Todd, having been damaged via mysterious circumstances. So anyway, Kara's initial gameplay, you're basically acting as a servant, washing up dishes, serving food. But in this scene, things are going to change up a little bit, and there are multiple ways of solving this particular scene. And I was quite pleased with the outcome from this particular playthrough. So as you can see, she's very attentive to Alice because that is her model's role. She is specially designed to be good with children, and of course things are not going so well in Todd's house. Todd is definitely involved in drugs, probably a drug dealer, and as you can see he's a little bit nervous, and this is potentially a side effect of the drug he's taken. And poor old Alice is definitely in a house that's not quite right. Now, Cara, being an android, is programmed to obey her owner. So when Todd tells her not to move, she freezes on the spot, and no matter how much you want to intervene as an android, you can't. Obviously, if you turn deviant though, then all bets are off and you become more like a real person. So currently Cara has no choice but to obey Todd, but she will become deviant, as we will find out very shortly. And what's interesting is part of the mythos of the game is that deviancy develops around high physical or emotional stress. So yeah, I think this might qualify as that. So I quite like this scene. It is maybe a little bit over-egged, a bit overplayed, and I know a lot of critics have criticised this particular scene as being clumsily done. But you know, that's video games. I mean, think of Grand Theft Auto. That's all very over-the-top, kind of mafiosa type humour and storyline. So I don't have a huge problem with it. Now, obviously, in the future, it'd be nice if it develops. Now, here you go. We've been ordered to stay put. So Cara, being a good android, is in don't move mode. But we can choose to break our programming. So I've tried to move, and as you can see, I've now got an option to break out of my programming and basically turn deviant. And that close-up there of Cara's face that we had, where she's kind of crying, is again showing off the graphics of this game to great effect. Now, you might not find this particularly compelling, this sort of quick time event style of game, and again that's another thing people have criticised this game for, that the quick time events are not that brilliant. However, they have improved in this game versus the earlier games by Quantic Dream. But yeah, I didn't mind them in the earlier game. I actually quite liked them. So I've decided, rather than to persuade Todd, who's currently dosing himself up, I'm going to run upstairs and try and save Alice. Now, depending on how you do earlier in the game, there are various options here. So I'm not going to tell you what I did, but basically I discovered a whole load of stuff, and I've decided that this option is what I'm going for. So I've ignored everything else, I've gone straight for Alice, and I'm going to try and escape with her. So I can run, lock, or speak. Now, I don't think Todd's very reasonable, so I'm going to lock the door to delay him a bit. And what's annoying here is I was trying to get the controls to go to the window, and for whatever reason it didn't actually quite work the way I wanted to. I think the problem was I kept pressing L1 rather than L2, and then you had to flip the controller up, and I have a bit of trouble with that on my controller. It doesn't always seem to flip up, but you know, as you can see, I did manage to get it going, and now of course got to decide what to do. So Todd, obviously he's seeing his daughter and his expensive droid escaping, although to be honest I think you could probably pick up a second-hand Cara for something stupid like $800, so it's relatively cheap in terms. So anyway, I'm escaping down the side of the house, and we're then going to try and catch a bus and get out of here. Now, this scene can take quite a long time to play, but in this particular version of the scene, as you can see, it's 6 minutes from start to finish, so I managed to escape pretty quickly, and that was pretty impressive there. I have played this scene with slight different variation where it takes more like 15 minutes. Anyway, Alice and Cara have a really strong bond, and it's one of the most touching stories in the game, and there are some various twists and turns in the game that I'm not so pleased with, but this is a really, really powerful storyline. I really enjoyed this on my first playthrough, and I'm hoping Cara manages to escape persecution, because she is now deviant, and no doubt someone like Connor will be coming for her. So there you go, that is another scene all done. So see you in the next one.